Welcome to Motherhood. Whether you're 18 or 80, Dr. Christina Hibbert, clinical psychologist, author, and mother of 6, is here to help you through the ups and downs, the joys and frustrations, the new information from experts, and the stories of happiness and heartbreak from real moms. Remember, if you can, tell your mama to listen too.
And I'll make everything all right.
Here's Christy.
Welcome to Motherhood. I'm Dr. Christina Hibbert, here to help you overcome, become, and flourish in this amazing experience we call motherhood. Now, we all start off as moms wanting it to be what we have in our head, these ideas, these dreams of motherhood, of what we want our kids to be like, of what we want parenting to be like. And we know, if you're a mom out there, you know it doesn't always turn out the way we want it to be. But there's one thing that I think that can really bring us down when we're trying to just do normal parenting, normal life with our kids, or trying to overcome a challenging time. And that is when we might feel shamed as moms. And today we're going to be focusing in on mom shaming. And in fact, we're going to be talking about a fabulous new campaign on the mom.life app. That's hashtag stopmomshaming. We're going to have the two co-founders of that app here to talk to us in just a few minutes about some of the things they've found out. They've done a fabulous survey of a bunch of moms, and they found out some great information about how we really feel about mom shaming. And let's face it, I think if you're a mom, you have experienced this in some way or another. And it's a tragedy that it's so, because you would think if anybody understands what we go through, it would be other moms. So the worst is when we're being shamed by other moms or other parents who we would think we could turn to, and we really aren't finding any kind of support there. So we're going to talk about the topic of mom shaming and some of the findings that they found in their survey, but also some strategies and skills for how to overcome it and what we can do to stop and prevent this, and to be part of the solution instead of continuing on with this problem, because let's face it, it's been around for years, right? It's been around since the beginning of moms, and hopefully we can start to make a difference and change that mom shaming. Now, before we get into our topic, I just want to thank you for joining us here. I hope you have joined us on our Facebook group, Growing Through Motherhood. If you haven't, just go find it. Ask to be added on Facebook. We'd love to meet with you there. And visit my website, drchristinahibbert.com, for all kinds of links to the things we'll be talking about today and other kinds of free resources for you, as well as links to all my books and other kinds of resources for you moms out there. And I hope that you will also, if you're listening to this on the radio episode, that you'll visit our new website, motherhoodtv.net. We're about to launch it in a few weeks. We're still finishing it up a little bit, but you can find all the video episodes of the radio shows there as well. So you can watch past episodes and watch this one today as well. Now, as I was saying, we're talking about mom shaming, and I was thinking about some of the times where I've witnessed the most mom shaming. And many of you know that I work a lot with pregnancy and postpartum women, and as a psychologist, and I tend to, I work with them usually when they're struggling. Usually they come to me because they have some kind of depression or mental health issue, anxiety, maybe even birth trauma, and they're going through a hard time. And there's no time in life when you want to be at your best more than when you have a baby. You want to be that mom, that vision in your head that you had. And when you feel depressed, anxious, or whatever you're going through, you just feel like you already feel like you're down on yourself, and it's already hard enough. But what I've seen is really unfortunate mom shaming of these pregnant and postpartum moms who are going through mental health challenges. And not only from, people that really don't get it, maybe somebody on the street, but really from their families and from their friends and from even medical and mental health providers, that it's really, really a tragedy. And I was thinking about when I first had my first son, I struggled with postpartum depression, and I found that I didn't know it was shaming at the time. I couldn't have given you that name. And I don't think that it was some kind of intentional shaming going on, but even just reaching out to my doctor and the doctor sort of being like, oh no, you're fine. It's just the baby blues. You'll get over it kind of thing. That made me feel shamed, like, well, something must be really wrong with me if I have depression and it's not going away. Or then reaching out to I had a really colicky. My first son was very colicky. So I was talking with a friend. I was trying to become an aerobics instructor. This was about 4 or 5 months old, when he was about 4 or 5 months old. And we were meeting together, and she was helping us to take this test because she was already an aerobics instructor, and she had a baby and I had a baby, and there was another girl there that had a baby. And I was talking to them about my colicky, fussy baby and how hard it was and how tired I was. And she just said, I think that kids kind of like mirror their parents' temperament, and like if you're happy, then your kids are happy. So, and again, it was just like, a dagger to my heart. Okay, so you're saying I'm a terrible parent? Are you saying that it's my fault that the baby's colicky because I've had depression? I mean, I don't even know what she was saying. But, we get these messages not only from people like this, but definitely from our own families, from our own parents, from our in-laws, whoever it might be. And it really just makes the whole experience of motherhood just that much harder. And we know it's hard enough, right? We are moms. Everybody listening here is mom. And we know how hard sleep deprivation is and how hard it can be to just deal with the stress of daily life. So why are we so hard on other people? And I know sometimes it's, again, non-intentional, but a lot of times it is. And I think it really speaks more to the person that's saying the thing and to some kind of insecurity there than anything else. But it can sure do a lot of damage. So today we're hoping to get this message out, stop mom shaming. And already the Mom Life app has done a fabulous job to start this campaign, and we just want to help it grow. So without further ado, let me finally introduce our two guests. We have two guests today because they're the co-founders of the Mom.life app. We have Deanna McPherson and Sharong Chow. Welcome to the show, girls.
Thank you.
So it's so good to have you both. Let me start by just telling everybody a little bit about the app, and then I'll tell them a little bit about each of you, okay? So it's mom.life. So you can go look this up. It's a free mobile app for moms, and it's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play. It's also a live moderated community of moms and moms-to-be. And I was lucky enough to be part of that once a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It's really fabulous, having live guests and interacting with each other. And there's so many moms on there asking questions and connecting. It's a really, really fabulous app. I hope everybody will go download it, especially because it's free. And the goal of the app is to connect moms with a supportive community of women who understand what they're going through. And that's certainly what I saw when I was there with you guys that time. They also offer parenting content from media sites and mom bloggers, and they also offer mini apps such as Pregnancy Tracker, Baby Calendar, and Hospital Kit. It's kind of the one-stop shop for everything that makes a mom's life happier and easier. And it really is a fun app to go on and just connect with other moms and meet people. So let me tell you a little bit about who these guests are. So first of all, Deanna McPherson. Deanna is the president, CMO, and co-founder of Mom.life, the app for modern moms. She is also an executive mom for 10 years. She's been balancing the demands of her fast-growing businesses and even faster-growing son, who is now 10 years old, correct?
Right.
Yes. And so Deanna lives in the San Francisco Bay Area with her son and her husband and her dog, Chester. But before all of this Mom Life app, she spent 6 years growing two companies you may have heard of, Yammer and Hootsuite. Love Hootsuite. I use that all the time. And she grew that company from the early stages into the, billion-dollar valuations that they grew into. So she knows a thing or two about creating category-leading brands, and now she is working here at Mom.life app and growing that as well. So it's great to have you, Deanna. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So good to have you. And let me tell you everybody about Sharong a little bit. Sharong is the head of community and partnerships at Mom.life, and she has had a long time commitment to this community, and it comes from her love of helping moms develop lifelong friendships and find the support they need, and that is so important. We talk about that a lot here. She manages Mom Life's live moderated community, which I was speaking of, which is unique among apps and something, again, that I think sets it apart. And she works with the users to create this highly engaged social media content and community. In fact, Mom Life has the #1 Facebook and Instagram pages among mom apps, which is pretty fabulous. So Shrong is also in the Bay Area, and she directed films and staged gallery shows with her young son and husband in tow. Then she wrote her first book and ran a food blog while her daughter was a newborn. I mean, she gets it, right? You guys are in the thick of it and doing it, you know? You're still going out there and getting it done. I love it. So thank you for being here too.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so let's get started here. First of all, I wanted you guys to, and I don't know who wants to start, but to share some of the survey findings that you found. And I guess maybe how did you come up with a survey, and what was your intention of even doing this survey through your app?
Sure, I can take that.
Yeah, okay.
We wanted to really look at this idea of mom shaming and what were the effects of it. And the idea came because we saw moms talking about it in our app all the time. They were posting questions, oh, my mother-in-law just made this comment to me, and now I feel like a terrible mom. We would see other people in the app sort of encouraging them and cheering them on, and maybe giving them advice on how to respond. And it got us talking, saying, oh, we all struggled with this. I mean, what mom hasn't? And so we said, you know what, let's do something about this. And then the first step is to really try to bring awareness, because I think so many of the people who actually do the shaming, it's unintentional. Right. They're really trying to help. They're, well-intentioned shamers. And so we thought the first step is let's just start to bring some awareness to this issue. So we conducted a survey among our users, and we had, I think it was about a little over 225 women responded to our survey. And among them, 80% of the moms had experienced shaming recently. And over half of them say it's frequent or rampant in their lives. It's just, something that they're constantly battling.
Wow.
And I think one of the more interesting findings is that the shamers are most likely to be other moms. Yeah. So among those who had been shamed, 70% of them were being shamed by moms. Ugh. And dads were the least likely to do the shaming.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad, though. It is so sad because, like I was just saying, you'd think that moms would be the ones who would get it the most, but it's just not. It's not the case. Yeah.
And maybe they're trying to help, just like the woman at the gym who told you, oh, your child's mirroring your behavior. Yeah. She was probably trying to share some knowledge or some insight that she had, and probably didn't mean to, to offend you. Right. I had an experience when I was, when my son was young and I was planning to go back to work, and, I had someone telling me, well, you do know that nannies put booze in babies' bottles. So get them, and here I was with a 3-month-old, and I'm interviewing nannies. And I mean, I was a wreck, I think, and you could see it physically, in me. I was so nervous about leaving my baby. And, that was the last thing I needed to hear. She thought she was helping me, you got to be vigilant. You got to really do a background check. But, really what that did was create so much anxiety and, sort of pressure and stress where, you already have enough as a new mom. You're not sleeping and you're wondering if you're doing everything right. Yes. So, that's why we thought it was so important to do this survey and to rally our community to join in this campaign that we've got called Stop Mom Shaming. And we're asking moms to we want to kind of take back and we want to get moms to really find their strength and find their confidence. And so we started this campaign. We're sharing the results of the survey, but we've also invited moms to share their stories with us about what they're proud about, what makes them a proud mom and what makes them a strong mom. We want to get moms talking about, their wins and their successes. And so we've taken to social media. So even outside of our app, you can, anyone can join in on this conversation using the hashtag #StopMomShaming. Yeah. Share with us your story, share with us your experience, share with us any tips that you have.
Yeah, that's great.
One of the things that we ask moms, what's your reaction when you're shamed? And how do you handle it? And how does it make you feel? we found the most common response is they just ignore it. They ignore it, maybe they walk away.
Yeah.
That's the most common response with a stranger. When it's someone that let's say a family member, maybe your mother or your mother-in-law, they really try to explain themselves. So
yeah.
They're trying to say, no, this is why I'm doing it, and this is why I made the decision. But when it's a stranger, they tend to walk away. We asked them how they felt, and the most common emotion is being annoyed. You just annoy the moms, and you're annoyed or you're sad. And very interestingly, only less than 1% of the moms said they actually changed their behavior or their parenting style as a result of the input of that shamer. So bottom line is, shaming doesn't work.
It doesn't help. So, okay, we can rule that out right there. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's great. So this is some really great information. And I really appreciated what you said, that a lot of, most of the time people aren't doing this intentionally. And I wanted to kind of pull that out for a second, because I think that when I think about shaming, like, why does it happen and why do we have these experiences? It's like you said with that example that I gave. That was her perspective. That was her world. She didn't have fussy children. All her babies were easy. She bounced back easily after pregnancy. That was her experience. So, I think we just approach other parents according to how we see things. And of course, this is how things should be, and this is what you should do. And instead, it sometimes can just come out wrong. Now, I know that there are definitely times where there's intentional shaming going on too. But a lot of it really is just this total misunderstanding. I'm thinking of an example. So when I was in graduate school, I had an episode of depression. I had two little kids. I think at the time my son was 5 and my other son was, they're probably like 4 and 1. Okay. So I had 2 little kids. I'm in graduate school. My husband's in dental school. I'm totally overwhelmed and I know I'm depressed. And so I wanted to go to my doctor to get a referral for counseling, which, by the way, I had to do a year of counseling anyway as a psychologist. That was part of our requirements. So I was like, I'm just going to do it while I need it. Right. So anyway, I went to the doctor trying to get insurance coverage, and he was from another culture and he was a man. So there is that. But he basically was just like, what? No, your life is good. Your life is good. Look at your life. And he just starts showing me, like, you have kids, you have a husband, you're going to school. I'm like, yeah, I know my life is good. I don't feel like I have anybody to talk to. It'd be really helpful. Well, you just need to talk to your husband, he says. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? That my husband's not going to get it? And don't you think I've tried? So again, that's just like a different culture, a different way of seeing things. And of course, I ended up finding a new doctor so then I could go find a therapist that I liked. But, this is kind of what happens too. Even as moms, if we're all moms, we all still have our own kind of culture too, our own way of seeing things. And sometimes it can be hurtful to other moms. And so it's interesting to hear that, most of the time we probably do ignore it because maybe we realize they didn't mean it, or maybe it's just not that important. But I can see where a pattern of that over time can be really, really harmful, if we don't ever say something about it, right? Right. So, Sharang, do you want to chime in a little bit about the survey?
I was just, during this conversation, I was thinking of like when I had my first son, it was just like a total culture shock, having a baby for the first time. I had never babysat. I don't think I had ever really held a baby before. Wow. I wasn't even sure like how to change diapers. Yeah. So it was all like new. And then when my mom came to visit, she had good intentions, and she brought all these like clothes for me and all these things, but all in like my old size. And she's like, oh, you're going to get back into this right away. And I'm like, this is like trying on all these things.
That's the worst.
And like nothing fit. And I'm like, I think maybe you should just return these. But yeah, she had the, good intentions. She didn't want me to be like slumping around at home. She wanted me to like hurry up and get back into shape and get out there. Mm-hmm. I think maybe because, that's what maybe she struggled with that herself when she had kids, just getting back out, getting back to normal, and not just being like seen as this like caregiver only.
Right.
I think that was something that was like a big concern for her. You don't want everyone just to see you as this mom only.
Right.
She kind of grew up from that generation, like post like 70s, where now you're not just a mom, you can go out and work and do this. So I think it was like a big concern for her. And so she kind of like passed it on. So every time she'd make these comments like, you got to go do this. What are you doing at home?
Yeah. You're like, give me a break. I
You're
just had
too
a baby.
relaxed here. I'm like, okay.
And that's so interesting because, I went back to graduate school, or I went to graduate school when I had a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old. And my parents and my in-laws were just like, why would you do that to your kids? And, what are you thinking? So it's so interesting because, from your parents' culture, it was the opposite message of get out there and do something. And from my culture, it was like, what are you thinking? You can't do that. Stay home and be with your kids, So it goes all ways, right? It really just does depend on the situation and the perspective of the person doing the shaming. Deanna, you look like you want to chime in. Go.
When you get shamed, like for both sides of it, it's like, oh, yes, you're either smothering your child or you're not spending enough time. I remember getting shamed for going back to work. It's like, it's a pretty special time in your child's life. Don't you think you want to be there full time?
Yeah.
But, I really made this commitment that on the weekends, I was going to be 100% present and I was going to really focus on that quality time. And I made a decision I'm going to outsource anything I can that took my attention away from my child on the weekends. So we would plan all these fun activities and we'd be at the park and we were playing together. I remember he was a toddler and I had another mom come tell me, it's really best if you just let your child play on their own at the park so they can kind of, navigate these other relationships with other kids. And I'm like, I get shamed for spending time away from my child.
You can't win.
Spending time with
No, you can't. Like everyone has an opinion.
Yes.
And people don't really know your situation.
That's right.
I think that a lot of people will come and maybe they just learned something or they just changed something in their own parenting and they want like everyone to know.
Yes.
And they just kind of like have no idea what's going on with you and just like jump in. And that just seems to be so common. It's like everyone has an opinion, like no matter what.
It's
like no
so
matter
true.
what you're doing, it's like the opposite.
It's so true. And I found even as a mom that I've watched my own opinions change, So as we go throughout motherhood, you grow and your kids get older and you start to see things differently. I remember when a friend came over with her husband, they came over to our house. They lived really close, like 2 blocks away. But they came over just to watch a movie late at night and they left their 3 little kids sleeping at home. And I was just like, oh, how could they do that? That is horrible. How could they leave their kids home? I don't even remember how old the oldest was. But anyway, they weren't like super young, but they did have a baby. But anyway, then next thing I know, a few years later, we just decided to go run and go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard really quick and leave our 8-year-old in charge. And get this is like the funniest story. My husband, we tried to call Dairy Queen ahead of time because it was a blizzard and it was a blizzard and we were trying to go get a blizzard and we wanted to make sure that they were open, and he called the wrong number and it was like 912, but he accidentally called 911 and then he hung up and then he called them and they were open and we went. So we had called 911 the first time we left all our kids alone, and I had a baby sleeping and my sons were 8 and 5, and then there was so the police came while we were gone and they showed up at the door and my son called us on his cell phone like, there's a police here, but what if he's a fake police? I don't want to open the door. And I'm like, just wait, we'll be there in a second. And so then we get home and the policeman's like, what were you thinking? And he's like, was it really worth it for a blizzard, ma'am? Not to mention, I was in my robe with my sexy clothes on underneath because I thought we were going to have a little fun later. And anyway, it was like horrible. So there you go. Sometimes we shame ourselves by just our own actions. But, it's true. Our opinions change as we go through motherhood and have more experiences. What we might have, said to someone when we were young, we just didn't realize what we were saying or doing, So.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Such a good point around it's often a reflection of the person who's doing the shaming. And, I catch myself doing sort of a different version of this with my own child. I had, he was at a play date last week and I picked him up and we're getting ready to leave. And I say to him, I'm like, say thank you, tell them thank you. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm being a good parent, like prompting my child to have good manners. If I just like gave him a little space, he would have thanked them, but it's like, I had to sort of show that I really was, the good parent or something, making sure my child has good behavior. But, I should have just given him the space to do it. And, I caught myself and I'm like, this is no different than shaming. I'm doing the same thing to him. This is a reflection on me wanting to feel like I've raised a child to have good.
That's right. And how often do we do that? I mean, just think about how you want your kids to look or dress, or, I remember when one of my sons was young, he wanted to look like Clark Kent at church. So he wore his Superman clothes under his regular clothes, but he wanted his hair curled in a little curly Q. And then he wore glasses that were broken and they were sunglasses with the lenses popped out. And I'm just like, you can't wear that to church. You can't wear that to church. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody thinks he's hilarious. They think he's adorable. Why am I telling him that he looks too funny to go? It's just, so that's the day I learned, let my kids dress how they like. And you know what? It doesn't reflect on me. I can just be like, I didn't dress them. It's all fine. So, right?
Yeah, I definitely have become much more relaxed with child number 2.
Yes. And how old are your kids
we
now?
kind of 12 and 8.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My daughter just turned 8, so we don't force her. Like, she always wants her T-shirts and pants and her Crocs every single day.
Yes.
She cannot get out of those Crocs. But yeah, I think we've become so much more relaxed. I think with the first child, that's what we see in the community is a lot of first-time moms. They're much more anxious. They don't know. They just kind of want this reassurance from other moms.
Yes.
Am I doing the right thing? What do I do here? They just want to see if consensus or other people doing the same thing or feel the same way as them.
Right. And so I know on your survey, there were a couple of themes that came out as far as topics that moms tend to be shamed about. What were those? Deanna?
Yeah, parenting.
Yeah,
right?
Parenting.
Eating choices was the number one thing. So
Okay.
around breastfeeding or bottle feeding. So it may be because you're breastfeeding in public and someone, has a problem with that. Or it may be because you're unable to breastfeed or didn't work for you. And so you're bottle feeding and someone feels the need to tell you that breast is best.
Yeah.
That really makes the mom feel bad.
I know.
And so that seemed to be the number one. And then, Sharon, as she said, parenting styles.
Mm-hmm. So, and these are really personal choices. And I've seen that so many times, so many moms shamed over the feeding choices for sure. And especially, the moms I work with, like I said, who are already struggling with postpartum depression or something like that. And a lot of them, they might have to go on a medication, or if they have a bipolar disorder or something, they really can't keep breastfeeding, or it's really not good for their mental health, it's really bad to have a depressed mom. It's way worse to have a depressed mom than to not breastfeed your baby, right? So let's help mom get better. But then they feel so much guilt already from giving up breastfeeding, and then other people say things, and it really is just, it's a tragedy because it's all these things, parenting, how you raise your kids. Nobody has your children and knows what they're like and how they need to be. I have 6 kids. They are all, I do a lot of things the same, but they are so different. You have to have different styles for your kids, and other parents just don't get that. And yet those are the 2 main topics. So too bad. It's really too bad. Now, okay, so in your community, you've done the survey, and then you guys have, I know I was part of one of your live events talking about the Stop Mom Shaming. What have you learned from the moms out there as far as, what they're trying to do to overcome this?
I think that they're just trying to cope as best they can, and also try to kind of find advice, from, speakers like you. I think we had a really great feedback when you spoke in the app of just kind of learning that it wasn't them, it was the other person, and just kind of finding tips on how to deflect those comments, or, how to deal with it, that their feelings were normal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of it, they just wanted to feel like this was normal, not like the shaming, but, the way they were feeling, their anxiety was, completely normal, and that most moms constantly don't feel like they're being perfect. Yeah, there's always this room for asking other moms for help. And so I think that was really beneficial.
Oh, yeah. That's so great. And that already is such an issue, like you're mentioning, with moms anyway. We all feel like, am I doing this right? I don't even, am I okay? And
being a mom is hard.
It's hard. It's hard. And as kids, you feel like you get the hang of it, and then they get into a new phase of life, and then you're like, oh, great, now I don't know how to do this. And, so we already have that. But then when you add on somebody else trying to make you feel bad about what you are or aren't doing, then it just adds to that insecurity that we have. And so, yeah, I think that that point that you just made is so important, that you're not alone. I want everybody out there listening to know you're obviously not alone. Look at all the people.
Not alone.
Yeah.
And so we, in our community, it's live moderated. We have these community guidelines. And so a lot of times we have to, we reach out to moms. And as we were talking about earlier, a lot of it is misunderstanding. Yeah. It's one mom who just thinks, oh, well, I'm doing this. It works for me. You should try this. Whereas the other mom just feels really anxious. And then maybe their wording she read it incorrectly or quickly and then felt like, oh, is this person shaming me? Yeah. But, it was just like this total miscommunication. Like one person is really trying to help you, but maybe she was kind of abrasive about it.
Well, and it's hard to tell.
It didn't work for them, So.
In writing and texts and online, it's hard to tell what the emotion is behind that, right? Exactly. So it really is hard to tell.
There's a lot of miscommunication, but I think generally moms just really want to help each other.
Yeah.
They know that everyone is there for the same reasons. Like they want community, they want to help, they want to meet other moms like them.
Yeah.
And so we kind of try to help facilitate that and kind of bring this kind of this environment that's safe for them.
Yes.
They can, just speak their minds and, be respected for their choices and then respect others.
I love that.
So that's what we try to do.
I love that. And that's kind of what you were saying earlier, Deanna, too, about that's what you're trying to do is kind of build up the moms too. Because when we feel more secure, we're not going to take things so, like we're being shamed as much, when we're feeling more secure. Right.
Yeah, it takes a while for you, I think, as a parent. It took me a while to really sort of get firm in, what are my values? What are the values as a family? What are the things that I'm going to care about? And what are the things that I'm going to let go? And it really takes you a while to become confident about that. And then when you're confident about what matters to you and what doesn't matter to you, I think some of the anxiety falls apart. And I think, social media is such a double-edged sword for moms because it can be isolating. We hear from, so many of the stay-at-home moms that they just, at times can feel quite isolated. They're home all day with their child. They might be going out to different activities, but there's a lot of time spent alone. And so you then turn to social media because you've got your circle of friends out there on Facebook or Instagram or wherever they are. And so, there's that connection, but also there's so much room for, either seeing photos of everyone doing these great things and people are putting their highlight reels of their lives on social media. That makes you feel bad. Or, you post a photo of your child and someone's like, ooh, they're looking awfully skinny. Are you feeding them enough? And then you feel really bad. So, what we're trying to do is, we think it's so important for moms to have this strong community. And we do think that social media can be really, really powerful.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to bring awareness to this issue of, hey, let's all just give each other a break and support each other. It's not about judging, and we encourage moms when you're posting, if you want advice, say you want advice. If you're not looking for advice and you just want to vent and you want to share, say you're just venting here. And that gives people a clue as to how to best support you. Are you looking for information? Are you just looking for reassurance?
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what I love is that this isn't just a campaign for you, but you've really integrated it into this whole community that you've built in your app. Really, it's part of what you're doing there, right? It's not just a topic that we're going to touch on once in a while. You're trying to integrate it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've always been community first, and our community is a place that's safe and a friendly environment where moms need to respect each other.
Yeah.
And that we have these guidelines, and they can reach community managers anytime with questions or concerns. Yeah. So we're there kind of helping them and supporting them and trying to, build everyone up.
Yes, that's so great. I really hope everybody's just going to go get that app right now. Just go do it. While you're listening, you can just go on your phone and get it right now.
Yeah, and I was going to add, especially if you're newly pregnant or you're the first of your friends to have a baby, you say kind of goodbye to your old life in many ways. Right. I mean, even though you probably don't realize it, there are friends who don't have babies. You don't see them as much. They're off, having fun somewhere at a nightclub. I don't know, somewhere. You kind of need to meet new friends.
Yeah.
And so we see that a lot, moms are just looking to make new mom friends.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like on this kind of journey to find more friends.
Yeah, I love that. And as Deanna said, I mean, this is such a huge issue, the whole issue of social media. And like you said, that whole idea that everybody's life looks so perfect and mine isn't. And I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again. It's just not the case. I mean, you just can't believe everything you see because people don't necessarily want to put their worst moments out there in a picture. So everything might look beautiful and perfect, but trust me, it's not always that way. But so yeah, we can have those issues with social media, but this is an opportunity to use social media to actually create bonds and meet new people. And you also have a feature called Mom Finder. So this helps to connect with people that are more similar to you. Is that how that works?
Yes, it's a new feature in our Mom 3.0. It's fantastic. You like press on it, you add like your information if it's not automatically in there, of your location, like your city or your state, and then like your baby's age or your pregnancy weeks, and then you can find moms who are very similar to you, like local to you, that you can connect with in the app.
Oh. See, that's awesome because that's one of the hardest challenges. And you guys mentioned this. This is, I'm kind of going to recap some of the things we've said already that can help us against mom shaming. First of all, to know that you're not alone and that it's, it's okay to feel like, you're upset by some things that people say, and it's okay to say something about it. It's okay to try to find new people that are more supportive, and that friendship, finding friends that get you is really important. As you're saying, and this is a great way to do that if you're not sure, if you don't have people around you in your community, or if you're not able to leave the house as much or whatever it might be, you can try that through the app. And also, as we mentioned a couple times earlier, that it really isn't a reflection of you. I mean, that's just so true. It's called projection, it's called projection. We only say things about people that have something to do with us. I mean, for instance, if I saw your child screaming in the store and I had an issue with my own child screaming in the store and I couldn't handle it, then maybe I would say something rude about it to you. But otherwise, it wouldn't bother me, because it just wouldn't even be on my radar. If I have an issue feeling like I'm not very good at X, Y, or Z, like playing the guitar, right? So I play the guitar, but very poorly. So if I feel bad about that already, then I might criticize someone else's guitar playing because really I'm jealous of it and I really want that and I don't have it. So it really is, as you mentioned, one of the biggest ways we can overcome the shaming, especially if we're the one feeling shamed, is to build our sense of self-worth and build that confidence in ourselves as mothers in all these different ways we've been talking about, so that we aren't going to say something to somebody else that we don't mean to say. And so that if somebody says something to me, like if somebody tells me, yeah, you're not really as good as your kids on the guitar, I'd be like, yeah, I know, they're awesome and I stink, but oh well, I've accepted that and it's okay, right? I can practice if I want. So, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about self-worth, is you accept those things that you struggle with, then you won't feel so shamed when somebody says something. It won't even be on your radar, right? So this is kind of building us up from the inside out. And that's what your community is seeking to do as well. Thoughts on that?
Do you have any tips on how to build like your self-worth?
Yeah,
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I do. I wrote a whole book on it. But just kind of in general, I think to me what I created is called the pyramid of self-worth. And this is just 3 different things that you can focus on to get you started building self-worth. And to me, there's a difference between self-esteem and self-worth. And I think that self-esteem it's up here in our head, it's out here in the world, it's how people think of us, it's how we think about ourselves, what we feel, what we do. But self-worth is just who we are. It's just that knowledge that you are good enough. You are good enough as you are. You can improve, you can change things, but you are good the way you are, And so that sense of self-worth is something that I've been working a lot of years trying to help people. How do you build that? How do you change that? How do you feel worthy? Because what I hear from moms a lot is, I know I should be feeling worthy up here. I know that that's true probably, but I don't feel it. So this is what I think. So there's this pyramid of self-worth that I've created. You can go to my website, drchristinahibbert.com, and you can find some articles that are free on there. And it's also in my book, Who Am I Without You, and my book, 8 Keys to Mental Health Through Exercise. But it's basically, the first level is self-awareness. So first of all, being aware of our strengths and our weaknesses, seeing, as I say, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the exceptional. You know, and I think sometimes the exceptional is the hardest one for us to say, I'm really good at this, right? Especially as moms, we can't
awesome.
We can't admit that, man, I am awesome today.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I'm the best mom today, right? But we see it, so we start to be aware of it. So, you know, I even say, keep a list of your strengths and your weaknesses, and realize that we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and you can, as you become aware of them, then we can next start to work on accepting them. And to me, instead of self-esteem, it's really about self-acceptance. And that's probably the thing that's going to take all of our lives to fully accept every part of ourselves, because as we grow, obviously new things come up. But you know, we can see that, you know, hey, I am good at this, and I accept that I'm good at this, and I'm going to use that as a strength. And I'm not good at this, and either I'm going to be okay with not being good at it because it doesn't really matter to me, or I'm going to say, I want to be better at that, and I'm going to work on that. You know, so acceptance isn't saying I like it and I'm never going to change. It's just saying I see it, and I'm going to accept that this is how it is, and I have a choice to change or not. And then those two then help us to practice self-love. And that is a really hard for us moms. We're always talking about self-care here. But, you know, to me, there's 4 ways we can do that. Number 1 is to practice self-kindness. So do kind things for yourself. What would you do for somebody else if you had a friend that was in, you know, having a hard time? What would you do for them? And then are you doing that for yourself? Giving yourself a break. Self-compassion. So when you hear yourself beating yourself up, because a lot of time the shaming gets stuck in our own head, right? So it's us shaming ourselves when nobody's even there anymore telling us anything, but we stick it in our head. So, you know, instead of that, having compassion for how we feel and what we go through, and having that compassion with ourselves. And then number 3 is to let love in. You know, sometimes we block love. No, I don't need help. No, I don't need you, honey, to take care of things for me. I've got it. I can do it all. I'm the mom. No. Let help in and let love in. And then number 4 is practicing self-care. You know, just take care of yourself, your needs. Don't be the martyr. Don't be the mom martyr. You're going to be much better for your family if you can take care of yourself. So in a nutshell, those are my suggestions on how to build self-worth.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I think, you know, I mean, our society has really, in some ways, like, I think reinforced this concept of moms being martyrs, right? Like we rewarded moms for being martyrs. And I think that, you know, can be really detrimental. So, you know, that's why in Mom Life, we just want to give moms a dose of reality. You know, yes, I want to see everyone's beautiful baby photos, but let's talk about the gritty stuff. Let's talk about real life, you know. And I just love, you know, every day our moms are posting about, oh, my laundry is like, you know, all over the place, and, you know, my dishes are everywhere, and this is going on. But you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to like watch my favorite show on TV. Yes. And, you know, we're really encouraged that, like, just think, you know, there may be times in your life where things feel really out of balance or skewed in one way or another, but like take the long view on it. Like, it's going to be just fine if you're feeling a little overwhelmed this week, and you know, you let the laundry go and you do something for yourself.
Such good advice. I love that. Everybody hear that.
And, you know,
do it.
And moms really do use like Mom Life as like their kind of me time. It's a place where they can chat with their friends, you know, post some photos that they took during the day, you know, vent a little bit. You know, it's a kind of time that, especially like, you know, early morning and late at night, where they can just kind of have like a little bit of space for themselves. Right. You know, the baby's sleeping. They can just, you know, chat with their friends,
that's
you know, so really great. Easily. They don't have to leave the house.
I know, and they didn't have that, you know, in our day. Like I never had something like that, but that would have been awesome when you're awake in the middle of the night, and so is somebody else, and you can go on the app and there they are, and you know, I mean, really
and we're finding, you know, moms are really kind of finding each other in these group chats too. We've got like a lot of different like large group chats where they can, you know, have like a certain theme or topic. Could be like, you know, we have a group where moms are trying to like lose weight after baby. You know, they're all kind of supporting each other. some other ones like, postpartum depression, they can just talk about like what's going on and finding others who are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So it is definitely like this kind of mommy time for themselves in the app.
That's so great. That's so great. So if I haven't said it enough already, go get the app right now. Just download it. It's easy. I have it on my phone too, and I have an account, although I haven't been on in a while, but I need to go back on because it really is fun. It's very cute. There's lots of, other mom. Everybody's a mom, and it's a community like we do here, but in real time, which is fabulous. And I hope everybody's going to connect up to it. So we are about to the end of our time here, but I want to wrap up with just maybe a bullet point from each of you on what you hope moms might take away from today's show. And what I was thinking is, what you've done on your app has been great. You've created this safe community. You've created this environment where moms can feel comfortable and express themselves. And like you say, be real. That is so important. Let's just be real with each other. And then do you have any thoughts based on what you've done on how moms might take some of that into their real lives and create that for themselves? I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just love the whole idea of learning to accept yourself. We had part of our Stop Mom Shaming campaign is we had like these like proud mom and strong mom, like these like placards that moms wrote, the reasons why they're like strong or proud and like accepting themselves. I really loved that. And I think that, with this campaign, moms are really excited that, we were addressing this issue and then kind of focusing on why they're a badass mom.
Yeah, that's right. And embrace it. If you are, okay? Own it. Deanna?
Yeah, no, I think Sharon really hit it. I think it's, just knowing you're not alone and learning to find the positive and really, connect to that and don't be so hard on yourself.
Love it. So good. I mean, this is, as always, every topic is, I feel like we could talk about it forever because there's so much good information, but I really appreciate both of you being here. I love the work that you're doing. I really mean it, everybody out there, when I say I really hope you'll go check out the app. So again, they can find it, tell them where to go and what to do.
It's mom.life, and you can find it on, it's a free app in the Apple App Store or on Google Play.
Easy peasy. You can go download it right now and get on there. You create it. It's simple. Just create an account, right? Just kind of log in and then
it's super easy.
And then you're on there. Yeah. So easy. You can join the community and join the campaign by whatever you're doing online. Just hashtag Stop Mom Shaming. So if you're game, if you want to be part of this, of course, go to the app and you can be part of things there. And then, just wherever you are, when you have those opportunities, speak up and share your thoughts and opinions and use that hashtag so that we can help support this fabulous cause. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. And for everybody listening, I really hope that you will take to heart the messages of today, that you're truly not alone. We all get it. We're all here. We definitely know that these communities like the Mom.life app and like our show here on Motherhood and our Facebook group, Growing Through Motherhood, are ways that we can connect and support one another and stop the shaming and stop the internal shaming that we do with ourselves, because we all do that as moms too. And I mean, that's probably one of my biggest goals, is to help moms realize how great we are. I think we are truly like the most amazing beings in the universe. Look at all we do. And I want us to, like embrace our awesomeness, sort of, so let's work on that and stop mom shaming together. So hashtag Stop Mom Shaming. And until next time, I will see you on my website, drchristinahibbert.com, and on motherhoodtv.net. And until then, continue to grow through motherhood with us each week here on Motherhood Radio. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.